I think that the internet is going to be one of the major forces for reducing the role of. The one thing that's missing, but that will soon be developed, is a reliable e-cash, a method whereby.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Baloo and welcome to the jungle. This is the channel where we take a very simple approach to technical analysis. We look at the price in the context of volume using the Wyckoff method. If that is something that interests you, then why don't you leave me a follow on Twitch, or if you're watching the replay on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. So today's video, I want to talk about what is going on in the crypto space. You know, not a lot of volatility, to be perfectly honest right now. You know, it's Monday. Usually Mondays have a little bit more volatility as we exit the weekend and normal trading volume resumes, but it seems to be just kind of a boring day. But there are some movers, and I'm sure there's some other coins that you would like me to take a look at. So we'll dive into the community aspect of this program a little bit heavier than we normally would. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at what is going on with Bitcoin. So with Bitcoin, we have this, we're still looking at this potential reaccumulation after decline schematic that has been forming since, how long has it been now? Let's take a little measure. The shakeout occurred, feels like forever ago now, but the shakeout actually occurred 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago today, we had that shakeout. So yeah, we're just, we're holding support very nicely down here in the lower end of the automatic reaction line, down in this area here, and we're just very tightly consolidated in the lower end of the trading range. This is okay. This is good. You know, we'll probably come down and test again at the lower end of the range, but we could also come and test the top. Really, it's just slow and steady as far as Bitcoin is concerned. The volume is tapering off, which is good. We like to see that contraction of the supply come in on the asset. It just means that there's less trading going on, and typically when there's less trading, it means that we've reached a consensus as to where the price needs to be in the current time. So we can go ahead and take a look at Ethereum as well. No, that's BLX. Where's my Ethereum chart? Oh yeah, we gapped up on the open last night of this CME chart on Bitcoin, and that gap has been filled. It just came down to wick. You know, the gaps, I don't know. So there's an argument that market makers fill gaps so that they can initiate orders and add liquidity. That doesn't always have to happen. So, you know, if you're trading gaps, realize that it doesn't always have to happen, but it can be a nice short-term play. Gap up or gap down on the open. Bitcoin dominance dropping. I want to see some of these levels get taken out here so that we can really get rid of some of the support. We really want to break through some of these support levels on Bitcoin dominance if we want to see some love in the altcoin space. So just wanting to see that kind of fall through. Ethereum, I got a couple charts going on Ethereum. Same sort of story. Ethereum's got a little bit more strength in terms of the upside move. We've reached basically the middle of the trading range inside of Ethereum. Not only that, but the volume is very much so stable. It's a lot more consistent. It's an easier read on Ethereum. You're getting these nice like upthrust action, like the price comes up. We get a climactic action in the volume that consolidates beautifully, a nice impulse up. In this case, it was a supply, so supply did enter, and the supply seems to have been absorbed. So, you know, everything is kind of tapering off. I really like what I'm seeing there inside of Ethereum. Furthermore, if we take a look at the Ethereum Bitcoin pair, again, we've been looking at this chart for a while now. We're just wanting this LPS to hold, this last point of support. So if this can indeed hold as support and we can gain confidence on this pair and take a move to the upside, level to break tentatively is right around 46,000 Satoshis. From that point on, we're going to want to break out and test the top of this megaphone pattern. These megaphone patterns patterns were popularized by some stock operators as Jesse Livermore. It's a pattern that is quite often occurring as an asset is leaving its accumulation. If you see these, if you identify an accumulation trading range on the macro, and you see the asset at the change of character where it begins to make higher highs and higher lows, do so in a megaphone pattern. It's a very bullish pattern, and it can yield some pretty crazy results in a very short amount of time. And that's kind of what I'm waiting for in terms of what's going on with Ethereum. I really like the setup that is playing out on Ethereum. Is it taking longer than you're willing to wait? Yeah, but hey, you know, things sometimes just take longer. Doesn't really mean that it's not going to happen. It's just taking longer than you're willing to wait. Oftentimes, these things can take longer than we are willing to wait. So let me take a look at some of the comments here. Okay. It's always nice when a coin has 2x'd when you wake up. Sure, it's always nice when a coin 2x's whenever. Wish Avalanche would 2x. Sympathetic dysfunction. I don't know what's going on here. You can always farm PNG if you bought your AVEX too pricey last month. Yeah, you can farm PNG. You know what? We got a couple AVEX people in the chat here, so let's go ahead and take a look at what is going on with Avalanche. We'll take a look at the dollar pair, and we'll take a look at the Bitcoin pair as well. So Avalanche had a huge run up basically from $10, $15. 15 was the top of the box basically of this last accumulation range. Let me just zoom in. Just because I can see it doesn't mean you can see it very clearly. Let's get some more information in the frame here. We had basically an accumulation range occur in this area, you know. Not going to draw a parallel channel or anything, but this was the range of the previous accumulation. We broke out of that massive move, huge move inside of Avalanche, getting well above $60. That move from the top of the box was approximately, get that out of the way, 347%. Huge face melting move. So, you know, whenever you have these large moves, what ends up happening is you get a lot of new retail investors FOMOing into the coin. And, you know, they show up for the pure reason to make money. Which, yes, I mean, we're all here to make money, but you need to be able to make money in the sense that you're finding a good value proposition. If you can identify an asset that holds good value with a profitable technical trading setup, that's when you're going to get ahead of the herd. And the herd doesn't know what to buy, so they often buy the stuff that's going up. You know, they'll see something go up 40% and they'll buy it. This is not a very good strategy. Usually if you see an asset increase by 40%, that's your cue to take profits, not to enter the asset. So a lot of people FOMO'd into this one and they are getting annihilated. You know, if they're buying up here, they can only handle so much downside before they capitulate. So because of the fact that they may not be seeing the long-term vision of Avalanche, maybe they're starting to read a lot of the FUD and diving into the fundamentals against the protocol, they're going to reach a point of capitulation. They can't handle the pain anymore. And until those investors are gone, we cannot appreciate in value. What we can see here, though, is we can see a bottoming. So you can see how we had a change of character occur right here. Let me just draw this here. You know, we were going down and now it seems as though we're going sideways. We've just changed the character. There's a change of character right here. We need a little bit of time to really allow that to develop, show that this is holding as support, and not only holding as support, but we're actually moving away from it to the upside. If we can do that, then we can start to build a bullish case that investors may be willing to re-enter. So, you know, get some price action that breaks above. And then the true test is when we break the previous high. If we can break the previous high and continue, then you're going to get that flood back into this ecosystem. But until that happens, this could take months. It could honestly take months. So be prepared to hold. I hold some Avalanche. I bought at I bought at a stupid price at around $30, and before the change of character occurred, I just felt it had dropped enough, so I took a position at 30, and I'm just sitting pretty right now, waiting for this one to prove the level of support that it's at right now. Okay, yeah, we can take a look at H bar. Okay, yeah, I FOMO'd in. Thankfully, listening to you and others, I have learned a lot. Good, that's good. There's two sides to this market, man. There is the incredible innovation, and then there's the trading aspect and the making money aspect. Money's the root of all evil. If everybody just wanted to buy something and hold it and there was no manipulation at play, we would all be rich, but it doesn't really work like that. So we get trapped in the narrative of this is the future, this is what's going to occur, in a year or 2 years or whatever the case may be. We start to daydream about the possibilities of the future, and it's really intriguing. Don't get me wrong. When I first entered this market and blockchain just clicked for me, I still am just in awe. I'm often speechless at the potential that blockchain has to really shape our society, shape our humanity. I talk about this big meta stuff all the time, but it's because I truly do believe in the potential of blockchain. But you have to realize it's going to take time, and it's going to be volatile, and there's going to be people who are going to manipulate the system for their own personal financial gain, and that is the world that we live in. So, keeping a cool, calm head, knowing that you're here now, you're here. You're here, okay? You get it. If you understand the fundamentals, if you understand the underlying technology, you're already eons above the rest, okay? So take a step back, slow things down, try and trade responsibly, and realize that just you being here is enough for you to reach prosperity. So don't mess up your capital. Don't destroy your capital FOMOing in. Don't destroy your capital making silly mistakes. Be patient. Be patient. More patient than you think. Whatever you think is going to happen in the next 10 years, it's probably going to take twice as long, okay? Tech moves quicker and quicker every year, but it still hasn't caught up with our expectations, and it's going to take a while before that happens. So just patience. Yeah, we'll take a look at EGLD. It's moved quite a bit, so we'll probably focus on the Bitcoin pair with that one. But we were also going to take a look at, where is it? H bar? It was H bar, I believe. Why can't I see it in the comments? Anyways, I think it was H bar on the daily. So let's go ahead and take a look at that one. Dara hash graph. USD, let's take a look at it on the daily. I've got some old drawings here. Got to clean up my drawings. It's making my trading view go slower having all these drawings from way back in the day. Hey, thanks for the thanks for the follow. I appreciate that, guys. Okay. You know what? We got a lot of info to decipher here, so let's zoom it out. Zoom it way out. It's trending, okay? It's trending in the right direction. So whenever you guys are dropping a comment in the chat as to what you want me to look at, it would be helpful for me to know if you were looking for take profits or if you were looking for entries, because the charts look very different in both of those scenarios. So as far as entry, very difficult. Very difficult to enter something that's trending unless you have the ability to handle a lot of volatility. If you have the stomach to handle volatility, you can do a lot better. But basically, we're uptrending now. You can see that, we're headed in this direction. We're moving up. So the best way to handle these markup situations is actually really, really simple as far as determining entries. Yes, I did look at BTC. You can check that out in the replay. I didn't really touch much on it because we've been covering it a lot on the channel, but you can go ahead and take a look at some replays. But yeah, so when you're in an asset that is in markup, you can go down to some intraday time frames like the 4 hour, 6 hour, or 8 hour. Oh, thank you. I got 100 bits. Nice to see you again. Please take a look at GRT for an entry. Awesome. Thank you. That's very helpful. Okay, Hedera hash graph. So what you're trying to identify when an asset is in markup is support and resistance. Okay, so that can be a little tricky for new analysts to really get a clear picture on. But basically what you have is you have highs and you have lows. So, you know, here's a high, here's a low. Here's the next high, here's the next low. This one's a little bit harder, you know, because there's actually a couple highs. So this area is a little harder to determine what the high is. So it's getting a little muddy. But we're going to go ahead and say that this highest high is the low, and then highest high is the high, and then this is the higher low, higher high, kind of a higher low, but probably not. And this is what you want to identify: higher highs and higher lows. This is what's identifying the trend. We are trending to the upside. We're trending in the right direction. And typically, when you have highs and lows, you can interpret the highs as resistance and the lows as support. So here's our first high. We can just grab a box and kind of capture a range and hold that as a resistance line. So we knocked into resistance, we got rejected, we tried to break through it again, we were unable to do so. We finally had our breakout, the breakout of resistance, and we came down and we found support on that level. So we're not touching the support levels on this asset. So what that's telling me is there are Bitcoin investors touching this asset. They're getting involved in this asset. So let me just switch over to the Bitcoin pair. Need coffee today. It was my birthday yesterday. I don't get hangovers per se, but I get sluggish. So it might be a slower day. Do I want to become famous? Buy followers, primes, and viewers on cut.ly. Big follows, baby. No, go fuck yourself, loser. Okay, so we have a move up. It looks like we had a break of resistance. So we had a down sloping line of resistance right here. And we had our breakout. So now we're in a new trading range on the Bitcoin pair. So let's just zoom in on that and take a look. Let's go to the 12 hour. Thanks for the follow, Gur. And yeah, this is, let's break this down in terms of reaccumulation, because this is looking a lot cleaner. You can do the SR flips on the US dollar pair, but we're in full bull market mode. And when you're in full bull market mode, people care less about what's going on with the dollar. They just want to make sure that the trades that they're taking are going to be better trades than just holding Bitcoin. So that's why we use the Bitcoin pair. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the happy birthday wishes. Appreciate that. So let's draw a trading range on this. We'll just capture a lot of the price action here. And we have our spring, spring on low volume, which is good because after the test, we got our sign of strength. Let me get a few labels on here. So we have our buyer's climax right here. For those who are new, this is called the Wyckoff method. Fantastic method because it works with identifying a trading range on a horizontal plane. Sometimes it can be tilted down, sometimes it can be tilted up, but for the most part, we're identifying stuff on the horizontal, which is nice because these price bars are talking about price, and price either goes up or down. So those resistance are going to be horizontal. And it really helps you avoid a lot of fake outs because people aren't drawing patterns and stuff on this per se. You're kind of interpreting strength within a set range, which I like. I really enjoy this method. So we have a buyer's climax down to our automatic reaction line. That's what kind of sets the range. So buyer's climax sets the top, reaction sets the bottom, and then we got a nice bounce here. Some supply came in as we entered, so you can see all the supply tails on top of these candles here. So there is still supply present, but overall, the volume is quite low. So we had our climactic action here and the volume's been very low. So that can actually make things hard to read. It's showing me that first of all, there's not a lot of volume overall in this asset. So Compman is very present and Compman's footsteps are very easy to watch and track. Basically, the big movements that are occurring in this asset right now are going to be the footprints of the whale. So this makes things very clean when you're trying to track whales and trying to track institutions, which is what the Wyckoff method is best used for, because the footsteps are so much more obvious. They're not getting muddled up with retail and FOMO and hype. So we can observe those footprints. There's really not a lot of trading in this asset other than the movements of the whale. Low volume on the spring. You know, we had it bought back in, and now we have our sign of strength, this big candle to the upside. This is our sign of strength. Now, the sign of strength did not yield us a result where we held the top of the range on the backup, but that's okay, because what it ended up doing is it came back into the range for a tentative LPS. So this is our last point of support, LPS, right here. We bounced off that with another sign of strength. Now, what we can do is we have these two candles here, these two strength candles, this one here, and this one here. Now we're going to apply the effort versus result law of Wyckoff to try and determine how easy it is to move this asset right now. These candles, when you have candles that are very obviously different from the rest and kind of comparable in their size and strength, we call those analogs. So you want to kind of interpret the analog of that candle, and we're going to look at the volume, how much effort was required to move the candle that far. So if we hold our cursor over here and we can look at the candle's values over here, if I go to this candle, it was a 25.88%. You see that right here? Right here, and if I hold the cursor over this candle was 25.88%. This candle was 16.72%. So that is pretty closely correlated with what we're seeing on the volume itself. So we had more effort come in here on the 25% candle, and we had less effort come in on the 16% candle. So really, we're not seeing super obvious strength. We're not seeing the asset able to move easier yet. So what that's telling me is we do need to work out a little bit more of the supply in the form of a backup and be prepared for this to actually come back into the range and possibly break the LPS. Just be prepared for it. It's not a super bullish setup yet. We're not ready. We need to kind of work out some of the supply right here. Thanks for the follow, guys. Appreciate that. What we would like to see is we would like to see us hold support on top of the range, form a trading range, entry right here. And we want to see the volume come back to these levels. So the amount of volume in this trading range here, if we can get really low volume candles that are quite consistent on a test, that means the market agrees with the price. And if we agree with the price, if we agree with support at a level that is showing strength in the form of a backup, that means that the market is also going to agree with the ability for the asset to appreciate in value. So as far as the Bitcoin pair is concerned, I think that we could have a bullish setup here. It does need a little bit more time to play out, but the US dollar pair is trending in the right direction already. So I think that, we can definitely make the bullish case here for H bar. I don't know what's going on with the fundamentals of this. I know that this coin's been around for a while, but I don't know. I haven't dove into the fundamentals. So for those who knew, I talk about this often. Look for the technical setup first, okay? Look for the technicals first, and then back it up with some fundamentals, okay? If it's something, if the sector is hot, right now NFTs are insane. You should have already bought NFT sector. The NFT sector needs to cool off, but it's trending very well. So look at the sector analysis, look at the value proposition of the coin itself. Is it a copycat? Is it unique? That sort of thing. And that should be the function of your, oh, does it have a functioning product? That should be the function of your fundamental analysis. But look for the technical one first, because without a good technical setup, the fundamentals don't matter. Coin can be amazing, but if people are selling it, you're not going to make any money on it. So yeah, just be aware of that. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at EGLD for Starry Jenny. Hey, Jen Star, how's it going? Good to see you in the chat. EGLD. So this is one that's had really good price appreciation already. This one actually pisses me off because, man, I don't know. There's just, it's a running joke in my private group right now. If you want to piss off some of my analysts in my private group, just talk about how they all missed EGLD because we were looking at it at $8, being like, yeah, it looks good, but I'm gonna wait for this. And then we're looking at it at $10, and we're looking at it at $12. And we were looking at it at $20 and we're like, ooh, this is getting overheated. We're missing out. Just, every time we looked at it, it just fell off of our radar and we stopped watching EGLD. And then, you know, now it's at $150. So, you know, cheers to those who got it. Okay. Oh, interesting. So what do we got here? We got a comment from Digital Mining Collective. I hate EGLD. They silenced me in the Telegram after they burnt my coins. That's interesting. Yeah. Anytime you're silenced in a Telegram, or anytime you notice somebody get silenced in a Telegram, you want to really interpret the context of that. What were they saying before they were silenced? And were they being disruptive in that Telegram? Because if somebody's silenced for sharing truths, that's a red flag for me. I do actually believe that EGLD is kind of a legitimate project because, you know, it has a lot of traction and it has a lot of capital, and there are people much smarter than I that are putting money into this, and that is a good benchmark. Once you reach a certain market cap, there is a certain level of trust. It's not just a bunch of speculators. It's a bunch of people with real skin in the game, real education, and real financial backers willing to back the asset. So although that is unfortunate what happened to you in the Telegram, and I think if they burnt your coins, that's not cool. I don't know the whole story on that. I don't know if there was like a lockup or what occurred with that. But you know, they can't be burning your money. I don't know I don't know the whole story there, but yeah, it's very unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that, really am. But let's take a look. So when these assets take off and they've just had huge extensions and you can't really determine the support, thanks for the follow, Paul. If you can't really determine support, just take a look at the Bitcoin pair. I'm actually going to do a double screen here so that we can do a side-by-side comparison. Let's go over to EGLD, BTC, and let's do a side-by-side. What am I on here? I'm on the daily, and we're on the daily here. So it's a lot easier to find the support and resistance on the Bitcoin pair. See how there's no price structure previous to allow me to draw support lines on with this asset where it is here? That means that, you know, I'm kind of guessing and I don't have firm confirmation of support. However, I can do it quite easily on the Bitcoin pair. You know, you have a peak here to a peak here. I'm actually just going to draw a line between those two peaks. And that correlates quite nicely with this kind of area that we're sitting on right now with EGLD. So if we can hold this level as support, I think we got to come back down a little bit more on, at least on the Bitcoin pair. That doesn't necessarily mean a drop in the US dollar pair, but I want to see a little bit more support get built on top of this area here on EGLD. And that would allow me to try and determine a better setup on the on the US dollar pair. So let me go down to the 4-hour and let's drop a range. Looks like we have a little bit of a reaccumulation after decline type situation here. It's kind of a rounded bottom. It's a really, I'm seeing this a lot. I'm seeing this a lot where you have a very long drawn out decline on the US dollar pair. It just takes a long time to get to the change of character. Here's the change of character right here. Whereas on Bitcoin, boom, it comes in right away. It's a very clear reactionary move. So guys, the Bitcoin pairs are getting a lot cleaner. They're getting a lot cleaner. And if you don't understand why we would trade these pairs, try and get comfortable with it, because that's kind of what I'm seeing in the market. And you need to be able to interpret what is going on in the market so that you can position yourself accordingly. I am noticing a lot of bullishness on these Bitcoin pairs, and I'm noticing cleaner structure on the Bitcoin pairs. So I'm not going to ignore that. I'm going to embrace that and understand that this is valuable information. So albeit, you know, what I care most about right now in my life, currently in my portfolio, is its growth in dollars. And I'm sure that you're the same way. I mean, you're not counting how many Satoshis you need to go to the grocery store. You're counting how many dollars you need to go to the grocery store. You're counting your rent in dollars. So until that becomes a thing where we're actually measuring value in Satoshis, I want to know how many dollars I have. And for that reason, I measure my portfolio health in dollars. But that doesn't mean that I can't look for profitable trading setups on the Bitcoin pair. So Bitcoin looks a lot cleaner. The pair just looks a lot cleaner on here. We have a very clear change of character. This is very confluent with a lot of the setups that we're seeing on some of these bigger players like Bitcoin. It's a reaccumulation after decline. We have a little bit of a trading range occurring right now. So this is kind of the trading range that we're dealing with. We just want to monitor it. We want to see where the break occurs. I think that, you know, like I said, we probably come down for another test. Maybe we don't and we start to break out. Maybe we start to break out of here and come down for a test and then head to higher highs. I don't know, but just take into consideration this Bitcoin pair thing. Getting a phone call, that means somebody's trying to scam me, because that's the only time I get a phone call. Nobody calls anybody anymore unless you're a scammer. All right, so let's just go back to my single pane setup. We don't need to do the side by side. Okay, let's go back here. Okay. What stage of the bull market do you stop injecting capital? And are we there yet? So that is dealer's choice, really. I mean, you could be injecting new capital all the way to the top. It really kind of aligns with where you think you are in the market, and Wyckoff can help you identify where you are. And what your comfort level is. So for me, I actually just transitioned. Basically, when we hit 50K on Bitcoin, no more capital is going in. I've already made that transition. The next step is harvesting profits from altcoins into Bitcoin. And then the next step after that is harvesting Bitcoin into US dollars. And then the next step after that is hedging my remaining position with some exotics like options contracts and stuff like that, taking a few short side positions to hedge my portfolio. Yeah, that's a good point, Duxor. There could also be some poor modding in the Telegram chat. This is referring to Digital Mining Collective getting removed from the Telegram. A lot of the mods are just people that have been assigned power. And if they don't like what you're saying, you know, especially in large Telegram chats where there's a lot of noise, they might just boot you just because it's easier. So keep that in mind as well. Again, it sucks. I have a 15-minute delay on your stream? No, I'm just catching up with the... I talk too much, so I'm catching up with the chat. Am I a perma bear? Yeah, man. I'm permanently a cartoon bear. Yeah, so putting two screens on your trading view does require a premium account. If you are going to be a professional trader, you should have a premium account. You got to pay for the software somewhere. What about the band setup for the new run-up of alts during BTC consolidation? Yeah, so band is actually a pretty interesting setup because the US dollar pair on band is strong, very strong, but the Bitcoin pair is weak, hella weak. One requires time, the other one doesn't. So let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Let's go band USD on top. Actually, I have that one on my watch list. We've been holding band for a while in my private group because the structure looks beautiful. I mean, the structure is very, very nice on band. I love it. I think it's a very strong structure. But we're seeing a lack of follow through, and I believe that's because the structure on the Bitcoin pair is not nearly as strong. Let's go over to the Bitcoin pair for band. Yeah, so we have this huge drawdown on the Bitcoin pair. And we have a bit of a change of character back here. So we're going to draw a trading range on that. Boom. And let's just open that up. And you can see we're just sitting on top of the range. Now, this could be a very good position because typically when you break structure on the bottom end of the range and get bought back in, that's the first step of you being able to call a spring. So we have a tentative spring right here. You can see the demand tail on this. We got bought back in. We had a nice sign of strength to the top of the range and we tested back up and we're wanting to test and hold as support. So if we do get confirmation of support on the Bitcoin pair, we could head up from here back to the top of the range. If we get a sign of strength breaking the range and a test back down, I think that that's going to be the confluence that we need on the US dollar pair for band to see some real price appreciation in this asset. Again, I really like everything structurally about this. This is a reaccumulation after decline. Reaccumulations after decline, they take a long time to play out. But, you know, the longer you're building the cause, the more potential upside you have inside of that asset. So patiently waiting for the upside on this one. It's been longer than me and a lot of my other group members have been thinking it would take, just because the structure was so beautiful. And it still is, you know, even when we have these drawbacks, we're still making higher lows. We have that nice curling to the upside. I really like everything that I'm seeing inside of band. And if we can really get the follow through on the Bitcoin pair, the whales are going to want to play. And when the whales play with these really small illiquid coins, that's when you get the really big moves. So I'm not bearish at all on band. I think that it's in a good position. We just are having to wait for it. That's all. We're just having to wait. Okay. Digital Mining Collective says you realize 350k BTC by the end of year, right? I think that's quite bullish. Not outside of the realm of possibility. End of year, I mean, you know, before the end of, was it 2020? We were thinking that 20k would be really unachievable, and then it just shot up to 20k. So very much so, the asset can move very quickly, especially in the later stages of the bull market. But yeah, it's a possibility, but that's a pretty bullish target. I would be shaving off. I would have many areas where I would be pulling profits before that level got hit. I'm always going to maintain a small position inside of Bitcoin, so I would be prepared to take more profits if that level ever did hit. But I think that that's pretty bullish, especially for end of year. I think that's pretty bullish for end of year. I'm not sure how much longer this bull market can go, but yeah, it would be sweet to see. It would be very sweet to see. Cheers to anybody who's drinking coffee right now. I don't know what time it is where you are, but it's a late day coffee for me. But like I said, I'm tired. Oh, don't forget about GRT. Ay. Good thing you reminded me. I got the memory of a goldfish here. Let's go ahead and take a look at GRT. When do I think the bull market is going to end? So guys, time is really hard to quantify, especially when it comes to concluding a bull market, because what concludes a bull market is a serious overheating of the market, and that overheating of investment comes from retail. Retail uses no metrics whatsoever to determine value. They don't care about where prices are. You just get these insane moves that are very illogical. So trying to logically call an event that is purely speculation and purely illogical is extremely hard to do. Extremely hard to do, and you honestly shouldn't even try. Full stop. Don't try and call the top. Take profits along the way. It's way easier to take profits on this side of the bull market than it is to take on the other side of the bull market. Harvest your profits. If you're investing in this space, you have to harvest your profits and do it in strength. You know, as we keep increasing, it's really easy to find a buyer. Anybody will buy crypto at the end of the bull market because you want my crypto? I'll sell it to you. Yes, give me more, buy, give me all my money. Like, people will buy it. But trying to find a bull when the bear market initiates and there's a shakeout, and then that shakeout results in further downside, and then that downside results in further downside, it's really hard to get a price that you're willing to that people are willing to buy fair value for. So harvest your profits. Nobody ever went broke taking profits. This market ebbs and it flows. I don't have an answer. Honestly, I'm looking this. I don't know. We'll see. The only way that I will be able to prepare for it is by picking levels where I do harvest profits. I'm going to be taking profits at 75K. I'm going to be taking it at 100. I'll probably take a good chunk at 100 because that's a huge psychological level that's going to take a lot to get through. And I'll be taking it at 150. I'll be taking it at 200. You know, any of those big psychological levels. If I see any signal in the market at those levels, I will be harvesting profits. And how much you take is entirely up to you. But as far as right now, I'm no longer adding capital. So let's take a look at GRT here. It's not a clean read, again, on the US dollar pair. Harvesting meaning tether or cash out to dirty fiat, anything. Stable coins, probably a mixture of multiples. You can also harvest profits into alternative investments like real estate. You know, put a down payment on, help pay off your mortgage, whatever the case may be. Just realize some of the gains is basically however you want to do that, whether it's stable coins, alternative asset classes, fiat in the bank, whatever you want to do. Yeah, it's going down in worth, but it's not plummeting. US dollar is going down, but it's been going down for a very long time, and it does so at a very slow rate. Crypto can probably outpace its ability to depreciate. Okay, GRT, Tether. We have this very interesting area here where there is a support / resistance flip. We have fallen through the support and we're now trying to get back above. So right now it's battling with resistance quite a bit. We need to get above this level. If we can get above this level, then, you know, we can start to build support on top, and then maybe appreciate and get some support and find some higher values. But I want to take a look at what's going on with the Bitcoin pair, because again, it's cleaner. It's cleaner on GRT BTC. We have a very clear line of support on GRT. We're right at the previous buyer's climax here. Oops, don't need that line. So as you can see, the previous buyer's climax here is now offering support on the Bitcoin pair. So we're just proving support. When we're building support, the longer we build it, the more definitive the support is. So that's what's occurring right now, is we need the market consensus that the support has been built. And when the support has been built, the confidence increases. And as the confidence increases, the price begins to curl up. And as the price curls up, you get more and more people thinking that is support. And then you get the big moves and we start the whole process all over again. So this is very good, very healthy. I'm liking what I'm seeing on GRT. I hold GRT. I did not take any profits. I bought GRT down at 92 cents, and I did not take a lick of profit because I don't usually take profit on the first impulse. So my next impulse, I may be harvesting some profits, and those profits may be realized into Bitcoin because we're still in a bull market. Okay, VET is moving very nicely. Yes, you should look at the logarithmic chart when you are on longer term assets. That is true. Typically, when you're interpreting price within a single cycle, it's not super important that you're on logarithmic, but you are right. You know, especially if something's gone parabolic, it's better to look on log. Are you saying that there's support on GRT USD with a log? Let me see. Let's go to logarithmic. Still kind of in no man's land, so. But yeah, for those who are unfamiliar, right down here, there's a logarithmic. This is how you can look at charts very, very differently. So if we take a look at the BLX, Bitcoin Liquid Index, what time is it? Okay, I need to get out of here in like 10 minutes, but you can see here, you know, that's not a great chart. That's not telling you a lot without having to zoom in. But if you go to the log chart, it's going to show you a much different scenario as to what we're looking at in Bitcoin. It's going to show you the value overall. You know, I don't know how they calculate this. I don't know what logarithmic like literally means, but it's showing you the volatility over a longer time. So it's a skewed scale. I do prefer to zoom in on the local move and don't use the logarithmic unless it's like a multi-year type thing that you're looking at, or a multi-cycle. Absolutely, multi-cycle for sure. Okay. All right, so I got about 10 minutes left before I need to hop into the private classroom. So this is a good opportunity for me to plug my private group. If you're interested in seeing some of the trading setups that I take and learning the Wyckoff method, as well as gaining the skills to interpret price action appropriately and learning how to do fundamental analysis so that you can make better decisions in terms of your investments and kind of get the confidence to stick to your convictions. You know, education is the most powerful way for you to do that. And we offer a lot of mentoring. We offer a lot of educational services inside of my Discord on the VIP trading group side. So if you are interested in joining VIP and getting some of that guidance inside of this insane market where emotion can tear you to shreds, follow the links down below to bluescryptojungle.com and sign up for VIP. I've got pretty competitive rates when we take a look at some of the other ones out there. You know, I offer very similar services, but as you can see, I'm a small streamer. I'm a new kid on the blockchain, so I'm trying to make my mark, and the easiest way to gain trust is to reduce the threshold in monetary values. So I offer a ton of value at a low price. So if you are interested, follow the links below. And if you do that quick enough, I might be able to see you in the virtual classroom, which is happening in 10 minutes. We do Zoom classes. So it's conference style. You get to ask direct questions. I answer direct questions. We look at your charts. We talk about your fundamentals. We kind of bounce ideas off of each other, and we learn as a group. And the more you are able to learn, the more powerful a member you become in my group. And then we all flourish inside of the group. So, you know, if that at all interests you, then hit it up. All right. So that's enough of the pitch. I'm a better analyst than I am a sales guy. Okay, what else do we got? What else do we got? Taking a look at some of these comments. So 2 to 4 years, we're only 6 months into a bull run. No. So it's 4-year cycles typically from peak to peak. So you're actually 3.5 years into this bull market. If we take a look at Bitcoin here, let's just pull this up. You got to be on your toes. You know, if you weren't buying Bitcoin sub 10,000, you need to be on your toes. Let's go to the logarithmic scale here. Let me show you these cycles. Let's go to the weekly actually. Okay, so here is peak to peak, and we can even divide this halving by halving. Let's grab this ruler here, and from peak to peak is 1,400 days. Now, how close to that is 4 years? Let me just pull out my calculator out here. Where is it? There it is. 1,400, 77, why not? Divided by 365 days is 4.04 years. So that is the 4-year cycle that people are always talking about, that is influenced by the 4-year supply shock of the halving. The supply shock usually comes a year before the peak. Somewhere around this area was the last halving. It was May 2019. Where is it? Or no, it was May 2020. So this area right here was the last halving. Somewhere in there. So you're at the tail end. You're at the tail end. You know, you do not have 3.5 years of the bull market left. So if that's part of your strategy, I would advise that you recalculate the measures of time that you're using, because you can do comparisons to the past, and I would be shocked for you to be able to find a comparison of the past that is telling you that there's 3 years left to this bull market. So please be careful. Please be careful. I don't know what YouTuber you're watching that's telling you that, but the bull market's almost over. Okay. Okay, what is your insight on alt season? Keep hearing that term, but I'm unclear what to anticipate. Alt season is when altcoins outperform Bitcoin. So if you're looking at an altcoin, whatever that altcoin may be, and you're wanting to know when it's outcompeting Bitcoin, use the Bitcoin pair. But Bitcoin dominance can also kind of indicate when a season may be occurring. And basically an altcoin season is a significant decline in the dominance of Bitcoin when compared to the rest of the market. This was an epic altcoin season, and this was the 2016-2017 altcoin boom. If you start to see a real capitulation of BTC.D in the asset, in these charts, which we haven't had it since 2017. It has not been any real downside moves. We had a nice little mini season here. We had a little bit of a season here. We had a pretty decent season here, but nothing like this. Nothing like this. This move right here, my portfolio doubled every day for 3 days. My entire portfolio doubled every day for 3 days on this type of move. So that is like the conclusion of the bull market. That's the real ridiculous moves that you see inside of this space. Will we ever see this again? I'm not convinced that we ever will. You know, we're quite diluted at this point. We need a real frenzy. We need a real frenzy to see that kind of stuff. So watch this level right here. We've broken through a support. I'm wanting to see the support kind of break down to this level. Oops, nope, don't want to move that. I want to see it kind of break down to these levels right here. This move right here from the top of the channel to the bottom of the channel would be a very juicy altcoin season. Would it be this? No, but it would be still a very profitable trading environment to be in. So watch this chart. This is BTC.D. It is the Bitcoin dominance chart. When this chart is trending down in a bull market, you see good price appreciation. All right, cool. Best trading group ever. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you all for joining into the stream. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to follow me. I do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Immediately after my Twitch stream, I have a virtual classroom where I go through your charts and your fundamental analysis to kind of see if we can come to an agreement or even a disagreement where we can really kind of, put our ideas together to find a true way forwards and help you control your emotions and control your studies and keep you accountable and keep me accountable so that we can all continue to grow and flourish together. So if that's the kind of stuff that tickles your fancy, follow the links below. And until next time, please trade safe. It's a jungle out there. Peace.
To my dream, it's good to see you again. We can kick back now. The show has reached the